We are now live on the air, TigerBait Live. Mike Scarborough. I'm here by myself tonight. I think we're going to have a pretty spicy show without Buddy Sanji. He's taking the week off, a little under the weather, so I'm going to go solo tonight. And I'm going to wait for a bunch of you guys to get in here before we get started. I know Preston's show last night, he had a crazy successful show last night. I think he went for almost an hour and a half. I'm going to go a full hour for sure, maybe a little bit over, depending on what all we cover tonight. Obviously, this is my second chance to talk about LSU's loss to UCLA in Pasadena after we did our post-game show early Sunday morning. And what does it all mean? Where does LSU go from here? Of course, McNeese on tap. Just heard Ed Orgeron on his weekly coaches show from TJ Ribs. Had some calls get in there with some tough questions. I think probably his toughest question was from someone who didn't have a very good connection, had some very specific questions about coverage and defensive scheme and so forth. But I think overall, from what I heard, most of the calls were pretty civil and people hoping that Ed Orgeron rights the ship. What's pretty staggering to me is we put a poll on the front page of TigerBait.com either Sunday or Monday and asking what is your prediction for how LSU finishes the season. And the last time I looked, it was at 70% felt that LSU either was going to go 7-5 or 6-6. So there's a lot of LSU fans that don't have a whole lot of faith after what they saw Saturday night in California. All right, our buddy Kenny Haynes says he's in. Glad to have you with us, Kenny. Of course, he sponsors our post-game show every Saturday night. Blaine Smith, good evening, Mike. How's everything? Recruiting news? You know, Blaine, one of the questions I've been getting for several days is what effect does this have on recruiting? And look, obviously, I think other schools are making calls, and in fact, I know for a fact they are, and they're using this to negatively recruit against LSU. I don't know what the success rate they're going to have on that, but certainly LSU needs to start posting some wins, and they can't afford to stub their toes in any of the upcoming games before they actually play somebody that they're supposed to have a tough time with. The next 3 weeks, they really do need to take care of business, put teams away, look good doing it, look like they're improving each week. But again, we're starting to see the number of names that Orgeron's given to us that aren't going to play this week. How long are we going to not see Jay Ward, Cam Wire, etc., not playing? That's very worrisome to me. Trey Bradford back on the LSU football team at running back. Unfortunately, he's not an offensive lineman. He's a running back. He's not nor is he a linebacker or a safety. But we saw a little footage of him this afternoon out at practice. Not sure what he'll mean for the running game, which is obviously a sore point. We'll talk about that as well. But as far as recruiting, look, they're going to have some kids on campus this weekend. I'm starting to get messages from some of those guys. I hope to have a list that's somewhat reasonably accurate as to who's going to be there on Saturday, but I'm starting to compile those names now. So let's see what kind of crowd LSU has, how they take care of business. You know, a lot of recruits look at these things a lot different than fans do, but there's no doubt the negativity of fans, regardless of the school, has an effect on recruiting, particularly kids that you're trying to finish with out of state. And so you don't want LSU taking a nosedive and A&M chugging along and doing what they think they're going to do when you're in on guys like Harold Perkins. You know, what does that mean, LSU? So I think there's some staff guys that are going to have a big say-so in how LSU finishes recruiting. If there's any scuttlebutt that maybe there's going to be more changes on staff, if Ed Orgeron is back for another year, that would have a negative effect on recruiting. I'm getting that a little bit so far. Kenny Russell asked the same thing as Blaine. It's still too early to tell. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Please share. And, of course, I forgot to say at the top of the show, we're brought to you by Pride Roofing. Like we are each and every week. We couldn't do it without them. And, boy, they've been running ragged right now. Obviously, the storm. And, of course, there in Albany, I talked to Mike Faraday yesterday. He welcomed any of you to come by and stop by their shop on Florida Boulevard, or it's Boulevard in Baton Rouge, but Florida in Albany. Swing by their office. They welcome drop-ins to visit, but they're extremely busy with all the damage in their area, North Shore, etc. Give Pride Roofing a call, 1-855-PRIDE-16. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later in the show, but I know a lot of you guys have a lot of questions that we need to get to tonight. Leon Nietzsche, go Tigers. I'm butchering it again, I know it. Where are the linebackers? Yeah, look, Ed Orgeron talked about what he thought of the linebackers tonight. I think he knows that he wants them to play better, but at the same time, I think he thinks he's got some players there that can get the job done if they just execute the way they want them to. But obviously, the tight end ate them up on crossing patterns on Saturday, and it was ugly at times. So, yeah, they've got to get that fixed. Let's see. Blaine Smith, Scott Woodward, looks like he means business. Yeah, he was at practice today. And look, I got a message earlier today from a regional college football writer asking me what the realistic chance is that something might happen with Ed Orgeron at some point in the season. And, look, all off season, we were all saying that he wasn't on the hot seat and this and that because we all thought that, no, that they're going to take care of business and they're going to have a good season. You come out the chute looking like that. Of course, the stuff in pregame, that doesn't look good. Of course, had LSU won that football game, I think everybody around here would be giggling about the Sissy Blue for the most part. But when you lose, it really looks bad. But, yeah, I think he has to win 8 games in order to survive. Anything less than that, I think he's in deep trouble. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I'm minus Buddy tonight, Mark. He'll be back next week. He's a little under the weather, and I'm getting a little bit of a sore throat as well. It's that time of year for me with the allergies, popping Zyrtec D like they're M&Ms right now. Jim Milano, Racehorse is in the house. Dana Walker is watching. Thanks for watching, Dana. Yeah, he was at practice, says Mark Chambers. Bart Smokey. Will we see Corey Kiner this week? I think you will, Bart. No doubt about it. And I think there's a whole lot of people that are saying what happened with this and that. And I think there's some stuff that Pete's didn't do on Saturday that he will have corrected and installed this weekend. That's my prediction. By the way, there's a whole lot of people ditching tickets. And a lot of them are for free. If you're wanting to go to the game and you're not a ticket holder, I think tickets going to be pretty easy to come by. I've been having tickets offered left and right to me. People are not, particularly guys out of state, not coming in. Let's see. Henry Pooh, do you think LSU peaked too fast? No, they haven't peaked yet. They're not even out of the starting gate yet. Blaine Dozat, Mike, will the real problem ever be addressed? What other program is totally coordinator dependent rather than head coach dependent? I think Clemson is coordinator dependent. I tell you what's very interesting to me, and this is where you hit the stability part, which is where other schools attack LSU in recruiting, stability. Let's say hypothetically LSU were to lose to Central Michigan in 2 weeks or have an ugly loss on the road at Mississippi State. Woodward pulls the trigger and Ed Orgeron has a Sunday similar to Les Miles after Auburn. Who do you name as the interim coach? And I've asked several guys that the last few days. The only guy that makes sense is Corey Raymond. Everybody else is brand new. And some of the other guys that you would think that had they been there for 3 or 4 years that you would pick over Corey Raymond, there's no way you can go pick somebody over Corey Raymond because of him being a former player, him being in the program for so many years. And the guy who would maybe be the second choice is a distant second choice. So what does that tell you? That neither of your coordinators would be a guy that you would consider to be your interim head coach. It would be Corey Raymond. To me, that is very telling. But look, if these coordinators right the ship and they do what we think they're going to do, none of that matters. John Stafford, any idea why the offensive line didn't play better? Look, that was a unit that we singled out all season long as to a worry point of the team, the weak link, if you want to say. But like I said early Sunday morning on our postgame show, in my mind, I thought that they would be a veteran group. They would be like a basketball team. I was comparing them to some of those Wisconsin basketball teams with a bunch of juniors and seniors that go deep in NCAA tournaments, guys that just play well together, older guys, and they just didn't do it. They couldn't run the ball. Their defensive line were getting deep penetration. Running backs were getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. The running game had no chance of getting uncorked. They blitzed all day long, and LSU didn't make them pay with any routes to make a blitzing defense pay for their crimes. And when it was successful, they didn't abandon it, and they did it all game long, and it caused LSU fits. And then Max Johnson was a hair late in a lot of his throws. So the offensive line's got to get better. LSU's got to recruit better on the offensive line. And although this recruiting class for the class of 22, I think, has some guys that are going to be all SEC caliber players in the future, I think that LSU's really got to go to the transfer portal and find some seasoned guys who can come in and play right away. Because when you look at what that offensive line, who the projected starters are for next year, that is very, very scary. If you think this offensive line is bad, I think next year's has a chance to be worse. So, yeah, who plays offensive tackle this weekend? That's a good question. You've got your tool guys there that are moving around, and left and right, Martinez is in there playing multiple spots. I don't know how they're going to get that done. So it's going to be very, very interesting offensive line. Casey Campbell, hey Mike, you mentioned Dana Walker's name. She's a Mississippi State fan. Got her watching TigerBait. There you go. Well, that's going to be a very important game for Ed Orgeron in a couple of weeks. Yep. Perry plays offensive tackle, and he's a guy that we have not he has not stepped forward. He's been in the program now 3 years, and is Thomas Perry going to be a guy? Junior college for offensive help. I don't know if you have to go junior college. Now that you got the transfer portal, you just need to do a darn good job of letting it, now that you've basically got free agency, I think LSU can get some guys in the transfer portal. I just don't know where you fit them in, how they're addressing that in their recruiting meetings, and what they think about it. Mike, I think, was meddling and didn't let those coaches coach. Who are you talking about, Kenny? You talking about Ed meddling or somebody else? Troy Davis, how did you pick 10-2? Yeah, I'm asking the same thing, Troy. I'm at 8-4 right now, 8-4 or 7-5 after what I saw on Saturday. But if somehow this team can get to 9-3, then Ed Orgeron and the staff have done a fantastic job. The flip side of it is, after what I saw out of UCLA, and I saw Brett McMurphy went ahead and picked UCLA winning the Pac-12 and playing in the Rose Bowl. I think UCLA could very well be your Pac-12 champion if they stay away from injuries and play the way they did the rest of the year. I tell you another thing that I'm tired of hearing, and from Orgeron, and look, of course he wants the offense to be like the 2019 offense, but he doesn't have that offensive line. He doesn't have Thaddeus Moss. He doesn't have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He doesn't have Joe Burrow. There's some things that you would like to do, but you can't do. And so I think if he's going to be beating the table and wanting Jake Peetz to do things like 2019, the personnel aren't there. Is it not there to do it? Let's see. Charles Duncan, let's not jump off the ledge. It's just one game. I hear you, Charles. There's a lot to be concerned with, and there's nothing wrong with LSU fans being concerned. Let's see. Brett Allen, the team still looks lifeless on the sideline during the game. I got that, Brett, from a lot of people that were there and were watching them. They thought that they looked disorganized in warm-ups. I talked to someone yesterday. They looked like they didn't know what to do in warm-ups, where to go. There wasn't a whole lot of just gas and guys flying around. I thought the first couple of defensive series, the defense looked good, and then all of a sudden, once Jay Ward got hurt and UCLA started doing what they were doing offensively and in possessing the ball a good bit, they wore down. But one of the things that we talked about all offseason was the thought that this that this team was going to have a better leadership scenario than last year's, and right now we haven't seen it. So we're going to see how it goes. I liked some of the things that we heard today. We had Andre Anthony, Liam Shanahan, Max Johnson, Avery Atkins, and Ed Ingram, all for player interviews today. Go check that out on the front page of TigerBait.com. We've got that for you there. I think, look, there's going to be it's a real gut check for a lot of these guys right now. Let's see. Let me get some more of your questions in. Guys, hit the like button and share for me, and I'll get to many of you as I can. But we did last year. We still have Clark in basketball that succeeded in 3-4. You have to have the front fort. And that was one of the reasons years ago that Les Miles went from a 4-3 to a 3-4, because it was very difficult to consistently recruit top-flight defensive linemen to legitimately run a 4-3. And of course, Orgeron that's all he's done is 4-3 his whole career. He had inherited Dave Aranda, and he wanted to get away from it. And so far, it has not proven successful for him. But at the same time, I look at the number of defensive linemen that LSU's got, their rating out of high school, having seen them myself, many of them, scouted them. It's very much a head scratcher. The way they got pushed around, moved out of the way with ease by UCLA's offensive line was just it was staggering to me on Saturday. Let's see. Can we just get the offensive plays in on time? I think that might help a little bit, no doubt. That was one of the questions tonight, and something I've been hearing about for 2 days, going tempo, not the whole get to the line of scrimmage, look to the sideline, get the play clock down to 2 or 3 seconds, clap, hike the ball. Because they didn't play tempo, and when you've got an offensive line that's so suspect as LSU's, you're in a much better spot to go tempo and try to make things happen that way. Let's see. I've seen a little bit of that in high school football. I've seen it in the last 2 weeks. High school's going tempo because they've got small offensive line, outmatch in the trenches, and they're going tempo, and they're doing it with great success. And it's a no-brainer for LSU to do the same. Let's see. Let me scroll up here. All right, guys. I want to talk about one of my favorite persons in the area, one of my favorite people, and that's Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial, and she's on board with us, sponsoring the show each and every week this football season. If you're thinking of buying a home or refinancing your current mortgage but haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine, someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs repeatedly. Her knowledge of and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer, ready to buy a new home, or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And tell you heard about it from TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765. Equal Housing Opportunity 70876. And congrats to Tony. She was in the top 5 of their mortgage lenders at Assurance Financial of all their branches corporate wide. And so congratulations to her. And anybody that I know that knows Tony loves her to death and has dealt with her, and it's been a pleasant experience. Give her a call if you have a need for a mortgage. She is absolutely the best in the Baton Rouge area, and she can do your mortgage for you regardless of where you are in Louisiana, and even in some surrounding states. She's a license, I believe. So give her a call and see what she can do for you. She's going to get you the absolute best rate, and while the rates are still good. Let's see, guys. Let me scroll up and see who I missed here. Terrence McCarthy, we need to address the problem at linebacker Saturday. Everybody was out of place. Yes, they were. That's something that Ed Orgeron's talked about twice now this week. And they better get that fixed, because if you saw Ole Miss and many of the other teams that LSU is going to face later in the year, and what happened last year, getting diced up over the middle, crossing routes, they're going to continue to do that. And any team that's got a tight end is going to do everything they can to make it brutal on LSU. Aaron Abu Johnson, is back to doing what he did at Ole Miss. He's trying to run the whole team. He didn't do that in 2019. I'm not sure if that's happening, but I know some people that think that might be the case. Let's see, Kenny Russell. I'm scrolling back and I'm hitting some of these all over again. Let me go down. Ed O was meddling, Kenny said. Corey Lalonde, 7-5 at best, if not 6-6. I think a lot of people are there, and that's what our poll on the front page of TigerBait.com says right now. Chad Michael, Brett Hunter, there isn't a nose tackle on the team. Clark has been burned and lost his entire career. Baskerville has been smoked for 2 seasons. You know, Damone Clark had a few bad plays, but he was also LSU's leading tackler. He had some good plays. So there was some bad with a lot of good from Damone Clark. But that defensive front has got to play better. Alan Berry, hey, Michael, why do people think the defense, which was the worst in school history last year, was going to make such a big improvement? I think because of defensive line, who all was returning, experience, a dedicated linebackers coach now in the fold, and everybody back healthy at the time as far as safeties, getting Major Burns in, moving Jay Ward to safety, Elias Ricks, Derek Stingley, and I think that's part of it. I think there was a lot to be excited about with Ali Gay, even though he got pushed around like he was on roller skates on Saturday. And Andre Anthony, of course, B.J. Ojolari did play a good game in spots on Saturday. So I think that's part of the reason why. Chance Babin, I like to think last week was a perfect storm. An experienced team and coach going against 2 new coordinators. We still have time to right the ship. We still have lots of work to do. I think there's a good chance you're right, Chance. A lot of people are disgusted right now. And I tell you what, there's been a whole lot of piling on. And I'm going to say something. I think that there's some local talk show hosts that have gone overboard in their personal attacks and the things that they've been saying. A lot of it is uncalled for, and I think it has no place in the media, and I'll leave it at that. Craig Duncan, so tired of talking about recruiting and hyping these guys up, yet when they take the field, we see what we saw last Saturday. Until we get a coach who can not only recruit these kids, but actually coach them and see the results on the field. I'm going to stay even keel and wait and play the wait and see game. There's a lot of people that feel that way, Craig. But you know, when I've seen some of the defensive line that in what they did in high school and who all recruited them and how athletic they are, I think that there's just for whatever reason they're not getting it done, and I don't know what the answer is to why. Mark Chambers, McNeese Cowboys. This will be their Super Bowl. Better have the head on right. I think LSU is going to take care of business. Hopefully they can jump on top of them early, and maybe we can get to see Garrett Nussmeier for a good part of the second half, if not all the second half. I'm guessing LSU needs to get up 35 or so, 42 points or whatever the number might be at a certain point, and then we might get to see Garrett Nussmeier. But I also think they probably, regardless of the score, they want Max to work out some things and get some things fixed and have it and run the offense a good bit before he gets pulled, regardless of the score. Brian Shaw, same mistake as last year on defense. Alan S., bad idea to not schedule a tune-up game before this one. What is Coach O thinking? I don't know that he had any say in that. I think these schedules are done by Verge Osbury, and I don't know. I'm sure he does talk to him, but LSU's been scheduling this way for quite some time, and they like these opening season big matchup games, and the fans do, but you got to win them. Kenny Russell, it's really up to us fans. It's anymore. The higher ups at LSU now will dictate O's fate. Yeah, it's going to be up to Scott Woodward what happens going forward. Bayou Bingle, is Harold Perkins committing soon? I hope to have something on Harold Perkins here real soon. I'm working on something now, and be on the lookout on TigerBait for that. Christian Cameron, everyone's saying that it's just one game. What about the 5 we lost last year? What about none of these issues from last year being fixed? I'm sorry, but this is LSU, not a junior college. We have a higher standard. There's a whole lot about last year that I don't think applies to this year. All the opt-outs, the draft, COVID tracing, different staff at many positions. I think it's just a whole new deal, but there are some alarming similarities, I'll give you that. Jim Milano, Buddy is not feeling well. He's under the weather. I think we'll have him back next week. Charles Duncan asked a question we got several times at the beginning of the show. How is recruiting going to be affected? No word on that yet, but LSU certainly needs to win some games and string a bunch of wins together so that recruiting's not affected. And then maybe we sit there and watch UCLA win a bunch of games going forward, and then all of a sudden that the opening loss might not look so bad. Kenny Russell, the higher-ups at LSU will decide O's fate. Yeah, okay, I got to that one. Boy, I'm all over the place here. I need to put my glasses on. UCLA was much more aggressive. Let's see. Let me scroll down. Dale Broussard, evidently Bo Pelini wasn't the problem. Yeah, I was saying the same thing Saturday. Richard Sinnett hopefully will contribute at some point during his college days. Who are we talking about, Richard? Blaine, where are you heading for high school football this week? We're divvying that up tomorrow. I don't think we have any Thursday night games tomorrow night, although I might have one. I'm debating it now, but yeah, we're dividing them up. Obviously, with what Ida did to the New Orleans area schools and other parts of the state, schools are scrambling. And it looks like there's a few unique games in there, but we're also seeing where we're doubling up on some guys we've already gotten just because of who we're not going to see. But hopefully this all gets rectified. Ricky Burton, wish we could go back to the 3-4 defense. Casey Campbell, yeah, I'm kind of a UCLA fan now. I hope they win their conference. I think they've got a good chance. I really do. If they stay healthy, with what I saw on Saturday, I think they've got the right mix of upperclassmen And no doubt that win over LSU really it should give them a lot of confidence going forward in the Pac-12. Johan Rosenbaum, Coach O is finished. Yeah. Charles Duncan met Kim Mulkey tonight and Jay Johnson tonight. I'm fired up about both. Charles, where were they at? Were they at TJ Ribs? They put out the LSU the women's basketball schedule. Opener with Nichols is November 9th? Is that it? 6th or 9th? Madison Prep versus Southern Lab should be a great game, no doubt. I saw Madison Prep Friday night, obviously, against St. Thomas More in an epic instant classic. And I've got all that footage up on TigerBait for you to check out. Walker Howard, over 7 minutes of footage on him. He was missing a receiver, had some receivers dropping balls. Zion Chris, quarterback for Madison Prep, and their running back just kept running the ball and got it done, and they went on a last-second field goal. And Quincy Wiggins got to Walker Howard a good bit, but then other times he was flushing him out and had him on the run. Real hard to catch Walker Howard with 4.6 speed, but Quincy was... Quincy, I know some guys in the comments were watching him and saying, you know what, they expected a little bit more, or they thought he would be more dominant getting to Walker. First of all, Walker runs a 4.6 legit. And Quincy, people forget, this is only his second season of playing organized football. He didn't play football until last year. He had never played the sport before. Huge untapped ceiling, and just a great atmosphere in Lafayette for that one last Friday night. So, but yeah, they've got Southern Lab, and that should be a very good game. And boy, back in the frying pan for St. Thomas More, they go to Alexandria, who scored, 65 on Fair Day last week. So it doesn't get any easier for St. Thomas More and Walker Howard. Hey, Mike, where was the OC in D.C. during the game? They never showed neither on the sidelines nor the press box. Yeah, I think Pete's was in the press box, and I'm not sure where Jones was. Does one of you guys let me know in the comments? I thought I saw, I want to say he was in the press box as well, but I could be wrong. Andy Whitaker, perfect storm is the best way to describe the game. We lost to a very good team by 11 points. I still think LSU can go 9-3. I tell you what, they go 9-3, and a lot of people will be happy, and Ed Orgeron and the staff will have gotten it done, and LSU would have improved in a lot of areas. Chance Babin, a bad season will affect recruiting, but also NIL money from big donors. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of things in recruiting this year that are going to be unique and going forward that we're all going to have to get used to. Von Bluesman, this is a number 5 ranked signing team. Don't give up. The talent is there. Make adjustments. Play as a team, faster tempo, and short passes on offense. I think you're absolutely right. I think we're going to see a whole lot of that in the coming weeks. And, you know, I just got the feeling Saturday watching Max that there was a whole lot of analysis paralysis. I don't know if you would put it on Jake Peets or him just being as analytical as he is. Could be a combination of the two. But one thing about Max is he's very intelligent, and he's not a guy that wants to make mistakes. And so when the script goes off and he gets flushed out of the pocket and he's got an improvise, I'm not necessarily sure, mostly because of experience. You know, now his third start. You know, we'd like to see a little bit better ability to improvise. And to me, that just comes with experience. But the better the offensive line plays, and if the running game can give him any semblance of some third and shorts rather than all those third and longs he went in, he had Saturday, I think he'll be much better off. But he needs some help. Let's see. I mean, what was his quarterback rating at the end of the night? 134, 135. It really wasn't bad, but he needs some help. I still have faith in the Tigers. 8 wins, says Mark Chambers. Russ Longway, is recruiting an overrated thing? LSU's guys are ranked way higher than UCLA's. I think in some ways it can be. I think what we're seeing right now, now that you've got another national network that is formed, you're seeing, of course, a lot of independent sites that have left networks like mine. You're seeing less and less regional analysts out on the road. You're seeing their budgets getting cut. You're not seeing guys from the recruiting networks out on the road seeing players in person like you used to. Some of that has to do with COVID as well. I'm seeing on some networks recruiting analysts having as many as 4 or 5 states, and they're not able to get out and get it done. And some of the rankings I've seen, because I see these kids in person, is absolutely atrocious. And then I'm seeing guys that have their rankings so out of whack, and there's guys who've actually seen those guys. So I'm wondering what their ability is to actually evaluate talent. So, and then, if you want to bring UCLA in the mix and, look at them and what their classes weren't ranked this or that, you've got a little bit of a skeleton crew out west as well, covering a whole lot of geography, and not many guys doing it. You've got some very good guys out in California, but the guys out in California that are doing that I think are very good actually have to cover the whole country. So it depends on who you're talking about and where it's being done. But yeah, there's a combination. You've got some guys out there who can evaluate talent and are going to find that 3-star who's actually should be a middle-of-the-road 4-star or even better. And a lot of that has to do with who the coaches are and their ability to evaluate talent. Carl Dunn, let's get behind these young men. You can criticize the coaching staff. It's been too much out-of-line comments about 18 to 21-year-old kids. And Carl, that's going to be a touchy subject going forward, I think. That used to always be the case, where you don't criticize amateur athletes or college kids. But now with NIL money and these kids basically being pros, I wonder how much people are going to hear to that going forward, and how we're supposed to view these guys anymore. I think that's going to change everything. Kenny Haynes, Chip did work in the transfers. They don't show up in recruiting. Absolutely. Scott Trahan, if you look at Bama's roster, maybe only 10% of their roster we were also after. Most of their roster I've never heard of, meaning they are evaluating very well. Yep, and that depends on where their analysts are from. Of course, the Alabama brand, what kids they're able to entice to come to camp every summer. And of course, Saban gets them around the coffee table, and he's got all the rings in the jewelry boxes, takes the photos, and we know the drill. It's an easy sell. One bright spot, LSU had 1 penalty in the first game. That's crazy. That can be good or bad. We've seen some very successful LSU teams that were downright nasty and intimidating, and would have 80 to 100 yards of penalty yards each game, and would absolutely wear people out. And it's one thing to not be penalized, but it's another thing if guys are being overly cautious or lacking some tenacity or some nastiness or whatever you want to call it. Brian Champagne, offensive line recruiting really needs to improve. Yes, it does. I think this class, obviously, with Emory Jones, Will Campbell, Bo Borlon is up to 295. I think he's going to get better. He's going to be a guard. Saw him against Ponchatoula. And so I think you got somebody there. And then we're going to see on down the line who are some of the others. Obviously, Fitzgerald West at center. They're real excited about. I hope to see LCA real soon. Yeah, Justin Jefferson only had 2 stars. Yeah, I tell you what, nobody saw that one coming. The great Nick Saban didn't see Justin Jefferson sitting in the wings. That was crazy. who all is out this week. Boy, that list is long. Let me, I'll pull that up for you. But yeah, that list is not. Let's see what I have here. Jared Small, of course, out for the year. Jay Ward doubtful. John Emery doubtful. Fanua, Wire, Gay, Deculus, Kirkland, all out for the McNeese game. And I want to know how many of those last 3 or 4 that I named are because of the typical issue with Shelley Mullinex and guys getting penalized for you know what. Because I tell you what, if you're going to try and sit all those guys out for Central Michigan, you could be in trouble. Where was Mike Jones? Coverage linebacker was his thing at Clemson. Ed Orgeron said for weeks that Mike Jones has not grasped what they want him to do, the transition to a new position. It just hasn't gotten there for him. Let's see if we see him in the next few weeks. Certainly they would love for him to step up and be a guy, but evidently he hasn't gotten it done yet. Guys, I want to talk about Pride Roofing. Obviously, pride is a big part of what we do here at TigerBait.com. We wouldn't be here each and every week if it wasn't for them being our sponsor each and every week. Obviously, they've done a fantastic job. I've talked to multiple people since Ida hit, and they're out putting tarps on roofs. They're taking care of people. I know of at least a dozen guys that they've gotten to in a hurry since everything cleared out and they were able to get on the road and start inspecting roofs. If you've had any damage because of Ida anywhere in southeast Louisiana, Mississippi, you name it, Baton Rouge area, give them a call. Anywhere south of Baton Rouge, all of Louisiana, give Pride Roofing a call. 855-PRIDE-16, Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez. If you have any issues getting in touch with them, shoot me an email, mike@tigerbait.com, and I'll make sure you get their email. They, like everybody else in Louisiana, they've had phone issues, but Pride Roofing, you're not going to beat them for how quick they're going to be able to get out to you, assess your damage, work with your insurance adjuster. And right now, a big benefit, something we talk about each and every week, is that they've got 150 to 200 roofs worth of shingles in their yard ready to go to get roofs redone for those who are in serious need. I know they were redoing dorms on Southeastern's campus, so they've been flying. They've added more personnel, and I know one friend of mine in New Orleans they got taken care of. So if you're in New Orleans, North Shore, Hammond area, South Mississippi, Baton Rouge area, give Pride Roofing a call, 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait free for a year. And you cannot beat that deal. Free inspection, and you get free TigerBait for a year just for saying that you heard about them on TigerBait.com. And absolutely phenomenal job that Mike Faraday. I talked to one guy last week. I told you all about him last week. Got really emotional on the phone with me because nothing that went right. He lost half of his roof in New Orleans Sunday night last week. And Pride Roofing was there. One of their guys in the New Orleans area was there within hours after calling him. So give Pride Roofing a call. Man, I just really hope this staff figures it out. Yep. Look, you've got a lot of good coaches in that building. And it's not just the coaches that have assistant coaches next to their name. You've got a lot of analysts. There's a whole lot of football knowledge in that building. And I think they've got an opportunity to fix some things. I think there's a lot of things that we saw on Saturday that absolutely can be fixed. And then there's some other areas you got to do better in recruiting, and that's going to take time. Just let Mike Jones loose. There are 5 pretty sure wins, 1 sure loss, and 5 toss-ups. LSU should win at least 2 toss-ups. Need to win 3 or 4. Yeah, I tell you what, there's some games that a lot of us were penciling in as automatics, and I think any team on the SEC schedule is a danger if LSU plays the way they played Saturday. Really expected Stingley to be as good as Tyron and Jamal Adams. I don't see the fire intensity from him that could energize this defense. Look, I see moments from Derek. I'm going to give him and some other guys a mulligan from Saturday. You've got to get some edge pass rush. You've got to get some push up front, and all that feeds into how your cornerbacks look. And so when all that happens, there's a domino effect about how the whole defense looks. Certainly losing Jay Ward was not. Borland's dad said he is getting stacked. Talking about Bo, he absolutely is. I saw him in pregame warmups. The Newman team came out while brother Martin and De La Salle were still playing. And of course, he's over there and he's got his shirt off and he's putting his pads on. And I had tweeted out a photo of him, I guess about 6 weeks ago, where, and his dad said he was at 290, 295, and he looked even bigger now. And I said, man, what are you doing? Is it coming easy, or are you are you getting to the point where you're consuming so many calories you're tired of eating? He goes, man, I'm sick of eating. And so he's consuming a lot of calories every day. He's an absolute monster, and all of it's good weight. There's no bad weight on him. LSU's policy needs to change with the times, like some other schools have done. Which policy, Von Bluesman? C-Man CUC, here's the situation with Mike Jones. He wants to play an every down linebacker and play inside. Putting him inside means he is now facing a shedding offensive tackle, which is vastly different, no doubt. And, and where is he at size-wise to try and do that as well? That's a problem. Let's see. I saw a bunch of good ones here. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. And on Facebook, please share to the LSU groups for me. Very much appreciative. Can we expect Jack Bech to be moved to slot receiver? I wonder if there's a whole lot of different things you can do with Jack. But he is that type of receiver naturally. So let's see what they end up doing going forward. Obviously, the tight end spot is a sore spot for LSU. Losing Jay Ward changed the game. Absolutely, it did. Kevin Dunn. Man, you guys are flying tonight. Yeah, Von Blues, man, that's what you're talking about. The policy that made Rosenthal leave. It's absolute asinine. LJ Gaming, is it just or did Flott play a good game? Man, I need to go back and see. Cordell actually had some moments where I thought he looked pretty good. Let's see. Kenny Russell, rapid fire tonight. I'm losing confidence in Tommy Moffitt, Mike. People have been getting after Tommy for a few years now. I don't know what to say about that. The only thing that's alarming to me is it just seems to me that the LSU's had a whole lot of injuries to defensive backs and athletes, more than I've ever seen before. And maybe I'm wrong. I say it every week. It just seems odd to me. LJ Gaming, Ricks is the fire. Scott Tron, Stingley is just not a leader by his voice. Yeah, he's a shy kid. That's not his deal, and that's okay. There's other guys that can be vocal. How do two coordinators start the new season with the same problems that the old coordinators had? Unbelievable. And then, so what does that tell you? You think all those coaches last year were idiots and then these coaches are idiots? No, there's some personnel issues. the best players on the team to be more energetic and want it more. I think we're going to see some more of that. I don't know how you would grade the culture. I need to be around them. I want to see them in a home game atmosphere. I think they're going to feed off the crowd this week. I don't know what y'all think the crowd's going to be. Some people are thinking as low as 50 or no more than 75. We'll see. I think it's probably going to be somewhere in the 70 to 80 range. We lost Kelvin Joseph, a second-round draft pick, to that 1984-style marijuana policy. The marijuana policy is what it is, and I think it's I don't know what you do. It has to be in place, but there needs to be a rehab component, not a disciplinary component to it. And, LSU's the only one that does it, and evidently everybody at the top at LSU signs off on who's instituting it and letting it fly, and they don't interrupt or so I don't know. Maybe one day when Scott Woodward sits down with somebody in the media, he'll really get grilled about it, and there'll be some follow-up questions. If they got manhandled on both lines of scrimmage by UCLA, it's going to be a long season in SEC play, no doubt, Allen. They've got to get better. I know there's some people that will say, as far as Brad Davis, I know today, the offensive lineman said it in our interviews that they wish they had more time with Coach Davis. Coach Craig getting cut loose in June was really disruptive, and that did not help things at all. Liam Shanahan said that today. Did you see Ed Ingram's comment? Offensive line guys said he's not in shape. That floored me. Yeah, he had some things that were really had a lot of people taken aback. And look, when you get players saying stuff like that, that's telling to me. And particularly a guy like him. It's his last year. I imagine some of these guys want to let it air it out and not, particularly on the offensive line where they're taking a lot of heat and on social media and talk shows. I'm sure Ed Ingram and a lot of those guys want to vent their frustrations. My question for all the people calling for Coach O's job: who are you going to get? There are not a lot of big up-and-coming coaches out there. I don't think you're going to get Dabo. I don't think Jimbo will come, so who? Hey, Brett, I played this game yesterday with somebody, and we were just putting together a list. 3 different coaches have won national championships at LSU. It is a highly, highly desirable job. And just some of the names that we were tossing around, and by the way, I'm not throwing dirt on Ed Orgeron. I think he's got a chance to hold on to his job and get it done. But if something were to happen and Woodward would make a move, I got a list of 6 or 8 guys that we put together easily, and several of them I know that LSU would be their dream job. That ain't a problem. And no, Hugh Freeze is not on the list. That is not a Woodward hire, and he would not go that route, believe me. Tony Williams, Scott Woodward makes great hires. Yes, he does. If each player on the team knows what the drug policy is and still use drugs, doesn't that speak to the character and the lack of discipline of the players? It absolutely does. On one hand, I think the policy is ridiculous. On the other hand, in the case of Dari Rosenthal, who had maxed out all of his chances and through some loophole was able to come back an additional time when he should have been done for good, and then immediately goes out and does it again, that's just stupidity. So it goes both ways. I agree with you. Lane Kiffin, please. I don't see Lane Kiffin being a Woodward guy either. Charles Duncan, the offensive line has not practiced together all preseason. No, they're together, Charles. They're together during the summer. And they've got a lot. They had a lot of hours that they get to do stuff with GAs and teaching time. There's additional stuff that the NCAA allows. Charles Duncan, Billy Napier. I think he's certainly going to be on a lot of people's lists. I think he would be in the B category. LJ Game, and I'll provide freeze the burner phones. Yeah, if you're a coach these days, how can you not have 2 or 3 burner phones, regardless? I mean, just so you don't have the advocate doing FOIA requests and knowing all your business. Did you see that Norville did what he did, that supposed hot mess at Florida State? LJ, you just named a guy that was on my list. And I know LSU is his dream job. Let's see here. PJ Fleck, Brian Champon. Kenny Haynes, I'm a lone wolf, but I don't care about losing dope heads. THC is a banned substance in every sport. If you want the medical benefit, take CBD. You smoke marijuana to get high. These guys have to fail multiple tests that they know are coming. I can see that point of view as well. You know, that you just have a whole generation that they don't go to Murphy's and drink quarter beer like we all did in college. Pat Mashburn, great show tonight as usual. Thanks, Pat. Much appreciative. I'm winging it without Buddy tonight, but somehow I'm getting through it. He'll be back next week. And Preston did a good show, great show last night. Our post game, of course, Kenny's been in the chat. He'll be sponsoring that Saturday night, and we're going to be right back out at a bunch of high school games for you. I don't know if you've been checking out the front page of TigerBait. Lots of prospect footage. I've got some more coming on Austin Osbury, Jaden Osbury, and go check out the front page of TigerBait.com. This afternoon, I put up some footage of Keelan Moses, Dylan Moses' little brother, playing both ways for U High. Just like Dylan, he's an absolute beast as a 9th grader. Coming off the edge as a rusher, on offense as a running back. And U High laid the wood to Central last week, and they're hosting Woodlawn Friday night. So it'll be U High, that's one of your top-ranked teams, against Woodlawn, one of your top-ranked teams, Friday night on the LSU campus. Check out that Moses film on the front page of TigerBait. Go subscribe to TigerBait, guys. We really want to have you. Our TigerBait premium message board, a lot of the guys you see in the chat are on our TigerDen premium message board day and night. I'm there day and night interacting, and our TigerBait community is absolutely growing. We'd love to have you as a TigerBait subscriber. You get all our recruiting updates. You get all our prospect video. Nobody does recruiting video better than we do. You get our newsletters, our text alerts for breaking news. Our game threads on game days are awesome. And go to TigerBait, subscribe. We really want to have you on board with us. Choose the annual package. You save you get 3 months free essentially when you do that. Matt Campbell, Iowa State. Yeah, he was on the list. There's a bunch of guys. Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. There's thoughts out there that he could be had. He would absolutely be a Woodward type hire. There's a bunch of guys out there. But like I said, I'm not running Orgeron off or running him out the door. My point is to say that this is a highly, highly desirable job. And it's very, very desirable, more so now than it was when Orgeron got the job, because you've got Scott Woodward as an athletics director and not Joe Oliva. There's a lot of football coaches out there in 2015 and 16 that, probably weren't interested in the LSU job just because of Joe Oliva would be their boss. Whole new different scenario with Scott Woodward. And yeah. Zach Duplanchand, Napier is not the answer. Yeah, I'm wondering why he's passed on several jobs. I've had people say he likes the stability and the lack of pressure in Lafayette. And if that's the case, is that the kind of guy you want? And really, what is he? You know, I know he got that Iowa State win last year, but that was a COVID year. I don't know, man. I still need to see something bigger out of him. You know, maybe that win that had they beat Texas, it needs an outright win of the Sun Belt Conference for starters. Michael Chavis, LSU is soft. They get pushed around a little bit too much, and that's what's staggering to me. You know, I said it on our post-game show with Preston. I said, man, one of the most disappointing things to me was the defensive line, particularly since I was beating the drum for them all offseason, saying it was going to be the best since Ed Orgeron's been here, and it absolutely wasn't. So, you know, I wonder, I think, you know, the hope is the weeks go and LSU plays some more football, they start to look like what we think they can look like. Because I do think the talent is there. I think there's the depth is there. They've just got to play better. Yeah, he does. Sage Ryan has an injury issue. Yes, he does. Russ Longway, is Saturday's game a sellout? I believe it is, but that doesn't mean the actual attendance is going to look like a sellout. There's a lot of tickets out there to be had, and a lot of them for free. In fact, Texas Tiger reached out to me, and I got 3 tickets for free and a good section for a couple of BFFs of mine. So there's tickets out there. If you want to go, there's tickets to be had if you don't already have the tickets. Von Bluesman, Mike, check my comment above about Saban's workout program. Let me see if I can dig that out. You might be easy to find with your orange avatar. Let me see. Dun, dun, dun. Boy, it must be way up there. Here it is. Not knocking Tommy, but did you hear Saban during SEC Media Days talk about new methods of training that has cut soft tissue injuries by 90% and increased their speed by 5? Man, I think Marucci and them have the same program or doing something very similar. I don't think that's unique to Alabama. LSU is pretty much cutting edge on a lot of stuff they do, and maybe it's just a run of bad luck or you know, it's their, you know, it's kind of like your takeaway category. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why you're even or -2 or +2. But it just seems to me, and maybe I'm wrong and I'm forgetting some things, but it just seems to me that LSU's got athletes, whether it's your DBs, receivers, et cetera, that are having more injuries than I've seen in years past. Yeah, I think I got that one already. Let me scroll down and get some more of you guys before I head out. I'm an Alabama fan, and I greatly appreciate what Kiffin did for us, but I like him as an OC, not as a head coach. Allen, you know, and that's one of the guys that a lot of people would have on their list too, is a guy that, if you ask Alabama fans, if Saban retires, who would be at the top of their list? Mario Cristobal. I think that's another guy to talk about. At Oregon, all Saban cares about at media days is recruiting. Will we see Derek Davis at safety this week? I think we will a little bit. If they did get Kiffin, he would be could he bring his DC after all the problems he had at Maryland? Yeah. All right, guys, that's it. We went a full hour and 5 minutes tonight. I did it by myself. I think I trudged through it pretty good. Go to TigerBait, subscribe. We want to have you. Please share this on your Facebook. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on YouTube. And thanks for all you guys for participating. Thanks to Pride Roofing. Thanks to Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial for sponsoring us. And we'll see you guys. I'll see you guys myself live in pregame warm-ups from whatever high school stadium I'm going to be at tomorrow night, possibly, and definitely Friday night. Preston will do the same. And Joe's going to be somewhere. I've got 3 people out filming Friday night. So I'm going to have a lot of prospect video, more coming your way. I got some stacked up. I'm going to have more on the site tomorrow. Check us out at TigerBait.com. Good night, everybody. Thanks for participating with me.